city of angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 380 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. That's right. We're going to call this one Looking the Part, as many new players and old players are starting to step up and really make things happen for the club, while others quite aren't, let's be honest. So we'll cover all that for you guys. We have a lot to cover with a couple wins. CCL fun, at least upcoming fun, right? And then, of course, a preview for this weekend's match. So, yes, a lot to cover. But, of course, we'll keep it short. We'll keep it sweet. We've got the crew here. Bam can't be on tonight. We'll get him on for the next episode. But we do got Tony. We've got Araceli. We are ready to make this thing happen. Of course, Araceli, I know you had a busy day, but you still made it. Thank you. And same with you, Tony. Thursday nights are never the easiest, but we always make things happen. Now, what happened while we were gone, everybody? Well, we had our home opener and one of the greatest tifos ever. We got a couple wins, right? Things are looking up and up for the results. The process, a little more complicated, but at least we're getting wins under our belt. So let's get right into it, of course. Araceli, how are you doing today?
Actually doing really well. I literally just got home from a little mini road trip. So this morning I was out on the lake, out at the horse stables, and here we are. But aside from that, it was great to watch LAFC's home opener. Obviously, a great win. I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to watch the last game against Colorado on the road because the stream wasn't available in the US. At least that's what it told me on YouTube. So you guys are definitely going to have to fill me in on that one.
CONCACAF gonna CONCACAF. So bizarre. But hey, what we got the win anyway, so we get to see him again in it. Yeah, we'll give you the recap. That's for sure. Tony, how are you feeling, sir?
Doing pretty well. Like, it was a stressful 2 wins, let's just say it. A lot of questions moving forward from every position of not just players, but form and fluidness through everything. So, but overall, 2 wins, we have events on, and we have 2 games coming up.
Right. Doesn't always have to be pretty, that's for sure. As long as you're on the right side of it, you can kind of let it slide. If we're on the wrong side of it, different story. But things are kind of getting, let's say, adjusted with so many changes to the lineup. So let's go right to the first game, home opener, LAFC versus Minnesota United FC. Of course, we talked to you guys about how they've been retooling, improving, trying to get things in order for their season, trying to push to be a top 3 side in the West. While at the same time, LAFC is reeling a bit after a lot of player movement and trying to find themselves after all that change. Of course, we have a lot of familiar faces, but guess what? You got to make it happen anyways. Amazingly enough, all the debate we were making about who should be starting, who should not be starting, Dola made some changes, right? Not quite what we expected. None of us called this lineup, I don't think. But hey, it was a welcome change. We had Lloris in goal. We had Long and Marlon as our center back. So there's a change there. Plenty and Hollingshead on the outsides with Delgado, Igor Jesus, and Tillman, which kind of looks like that's our 3 for the time being. In the midfield, of course, on the wings, we had Bouanga, this time Martinez. And here was the big surprise. Ibobase was our striker, right? There was some celebrating in the North End when that came out. Honestly, there was saying, okay, cool, a change. Let's see how this thing works itself out. Maybe this will be what we need. Well, what did Minnesota do to counter what we created? Well, they came out with a 5-3-2. Pretty conservative, let's be honest. Utilizing wingbacks and counterattacks, something we used to do really well, but this is their approach. Now, who did they have? Well, they had Sinclair back in goal. Center backs were Dugan, Boxall, and Harvey. Langwane and Rosales were their outside wingbacks. Midfield was held down by Trapp, Dotson, and Pereira. And then Oluwaisi and Yaboa were up top. So some of the typical players we'd expect. Of course, other improved players as well. So this is what they were going for, trying to catch us on the counters. Let's be real. Defense for us looked pretty darn sound early on. Things seemed pretty stable for our side. Attacking wasn't the greatest situation, but Tony, I'm going to throw this to you. Give us our highlights of the first half.
The highlights of the first half was mostly just like I don't even want to say it's like most the highlights. It was mostly like lowlights. Is just the midfield and the forwards still trying to communicate and figure out a new form because it's as much as it seems like we are progressing really well. It's if it's going back to if Boanga's having a bad day, where do we find that extra like mind you, Martinez is going into his is developing into a great player, and then we'll talk on Ordaz when he gets subbed in too because he's doing really well and showing up as well. But what it seems like is Boanga is literally I could probably say this honestly, when you used to play FIFA and you had the fast winger, which would be, Snyder in Bayern Munich back in the day in the FIFA days, or, Ronaldo put him on the wing and just run down everyone down the wing and just go and try to break everything. And that's what it seems to be doing, is just the cross and everything. So in the first half, it was just trying to figure out how we can do better, but Colorado did have awesome opportunities, but again, our
Minnesota.
defensive one. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Minnesota. Sorry, skipping ahead to Colorado, but Minnesota also had some opportunities. But our defensive is our strong suit at the moment, which is surprisingly then when that's usually our weakest link at most of the time.
Yeah, I think that was the first half story. Are you entertained? Not too much, let's be real. Um, did it look proper in terms of organization? Yes, it did. There was not a single shot on goal from Minnesota in the first half. Not one. Not even a scary moment, to be honest. Seemed pretty pedestrian, right? Like there's not too much going on. From our side, though, we were still creating things from time to time, but it just wasn't quite gelling like what we're used to seeing. It was a little bit more methodical. I think it's probably the best way to look at it. We got through the first half. Fine. Great. Not too excited. Let's be honest. It wasn't pretty, 100%. But again, defensively, we were sound. And if your defense is holding up, you just need one. You just need one. Second half comes along. Same old story, right, Tony?
Same old stories. One big substitution, which again, these two players are going to be defined most of the season. Again, the first half of the season. There's the second half of the season where if we get the player, we'll see where that goes. But these two players, Martinez and Ordaz, are going to be very pivotal to what we're going to do moving forward because Martinez comes out, Ordaz comes in, and it changes the landscape again. Similar players, one's more finesse, one's more brute strength. Still has some skill, which is Ordaz, and that leads up into the pass to Boanga, to Ordaz, to the beautiful goal by Ibase, and puts it away. And again,
Yeah, I mean that goal,
yeah, it
it
was
was beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, no doubt. And the setup was great from Ordaz. A lot of composure to it. So that's kind of the difference. Like Martinez, if he gets the ball, he's gonna want to touch it first and then give it up. Like you could tell he wants to make something happen. Where Ordaz is very technical. This is what we have to do. This is how we have to be. If you're looking at assignments on a player, yeah, Ordaz is that guy, right? He's gonna follow the track of what you want him to do, and he's just gonna do that. Uh, Sometimes to being predictable, but at the other times being really scrappy to win balls. And to me, it's a huge benefit to see him growing into the player that he's growing into because it's essential for us, really, for both players. What they bring to the table have worked in the moments we've needed them to work. So it was good. And then, of course, all of us in the North End, everyone who I was looking at talking like, oh man, when we saw the warm ups and who was coming on and seeing them on the sidelines, I think you probably heard me, Tony, look at somebody goes, if we don't score now, if we make the substitution, guess what? We've got a 0-0 on our hands. And then, dude, that play happened and it was like, well, okay, fine, make the sub. We're good. And so it happened so quick that for Abobase, it was quite literally his last touch of the ball ended up being the game-winning goal. And he was already off the field before he could even call out his name, right? The call and response, dude's on the bench already. Like kind of a Debbie Downer moment, right? Like, oh, really? Like, Okay, fine. We'll take the win. Like we'll take the lead. But man, he didn't even get a chance to take a bow. Like, he was already off the field and done. Done work, out of the office, commute home, done. But yeah, did the job. He needed his one big chance. He took it. Others haven't been doing that this year. As much as you want to, cry, complain about service, you only needed one. That's all. Give him one quality chance. He did the job, and that's all you needed. Right, Tony?
Right, but Giroud did have the service. He like a couple minutes later, Bouanga
Yeah.
got him a perfect ball in the spot where he should be able to put that away and doesn't. So it comes to the question of not of Giroud's physicality or where his fitness is, it's just mentally where he's at. Has he checked out? Does he not want to be here? Is he, again, it's a funny joke, but has he Higuain'd it? As in, he thought he just walked in and be the star player of the whole league. So it's just many questions with Drew. Like, I don't, from what we saw from Milan, what we've seen in Chelsea, what we've seen in Arsenal, this is a star quality player. What we've seen in the national team. But when it comes to, I don't know if it's the MLS or is he just checked out or it's the glitz and glamour, he just doesn't perform to the stage, and he's ADP getting the money. So it's like, where's the miss?
Well, yeah, if you're a player of that caliber, it's a style. If you're a player of that caliber, I'm pretty sure you can make some adjustments, right? You should have the capability to adjust to the strengths of your side. Now, if those who watched the Euros and saw France participate in that, he didn't do anything there either, right? And that was the lead up to joining us. It was the same kind of story, right? It just wasn't happening for him in that one either. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like, everyone that's taken that role around him, last year was Kamara. He was producing, right? Everyone around him doing it. So, you can go after the guys around him and the service. Well, their service seems to be good enough for everybody else. It's just one guy not participating in the, at least showing up on the scoreline. It's one guy. You can't throw it on everybody else. Eventually, you got to look in the mirror on this one. And it could just be that he's lost a step. That simple. Just not enough for where he's at right now. So here we go. Mulligan after that, and we see the chance, and yeah, I laughed more than cried, to be honest. And then we got through it, got the win, move on, right? Move on to the next. Araceli, your thoughts on the match itself, the result?
I mean, just kind of overall thoughts. You guys pretty much already touched a lot of it in the sense of that this is somewhat a semi-new roster that we're still getting used to, even though we've already watched them in CONCACAF action before opening weekend. But my main concern, and I think we all share this, is just tweaking the midfield, making sure we're not making the same mistakes as we have for the past 2 seasons. And as Giroud is concerned, it sounds more the same of the end of last season, that why is he there, basically? Like, as a fan, as a Chelsea fan, yes, I was excited for him to come, of course. But now that he's not producing what he should be doing, it does raise flags, unfortunately. So, as you mentioned, if he should have the capability to make those adjustments, and if he doesn't, then I say release him, because what good is he to us?
At the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the team, right? And
Exactly.
in this case, they did, right? The starting lineup was what it was. That's pretty much what we saw in this. Is it worked for that lineup? Was it exciting? Was it awesome? Time to time, there were moments people could do better, but a guy in that role did the job when he had to do the job. The other one did not. End of story. Like that's it. You move away and go, okay, take what worked, take what didn't. How thin are we in midfield? We look a little thin in midfield. We look a little more defensive minded than offensive minded with the players that we've brought in. Do we need more flair from the midfield? Yeah, a lot. But yeah, we need more. I think we know we need more. We're not complete yet. That's for sure. But those that are here need to execute in their moment. I think that would be my assessment. Now, does it carry over to the next game? It definitely does. So we go a couple days later, CONCACAF Champions League second leg matchup against Colorado. They come in with a lead, but we come in with an all-important away goal into this match. And here we go, right? Game kicks off. Who do we field this time? A very different, not that different, but enough of a difference in the lineup. Basically, this one we have Lloris in goal. We have Long and Segura as a center back for this one. Palencia and Hollingshead as the outside backs. Same exact midfield as last match, but now we also have Bawanga Martinez on the outside. Oh, yes, and Giroud up top. You're his next test, right? What does Colorado do? Pretty much what we saw last time, right? Stefan in goal. Murphy, Awazim as center backs. Cannon, miraculously recovered as right back. Rosenberry as the outside left. Larraz, Bassett holding down the midfield. Cabral, Atencio on the outside with Navarro and Mihailovic up top. Man, that guy's good. I'll just say that right now. He's been great for them. That's the lineup. That's what we went through this time. So, yes, Giroud got his rest from the first game, which meant he got the start for the second game. Not too shocking there. Tony, were you surprised by the lineup?
I was not surprised. Again, it was if Drew didn't start last game, then that's what was going to be the movement of him starting this game for CONCACAF.
And then the Martinez trade-off with Ordaz. Well, if you watch Martinez's performance in the first game and how dynamic he was, you're not too surprised by this one. So, things kick off, Tony. How did it go in that first half?
First half was more exciting for a different player, which was Martinez. And we'll talk about another player in the second half more, but Martinez was, again, the star of the show. He created a lot. He just needs that one last step of, I don't know if it's finishing or just, thought process on the shot, but he was the star of the show in the first half. There was still a lot of meshing going well. Again, Colorado is a decent team, but we were making them look better because of, again, we don't have a defined of who we are at the moment. You know what I mean? There's a lot of movement, a lot of players left, and so the core of what we were is gone. So we're just still trying to find a new identity, and you could see that in the first half again. Martinez stepped up, Delgado stepped up. Our defense solid, but after that, it wasn't really. It was Bwanga going down the middle, Drew being the ghost of pass as always, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Martinez show, right? I mean, he did hold the ball a little too much at times, but at the same time, he was kind of maintaining our possession for this match. Like, he was the guy. Distributing very well, really strong from that side. I was really impressed. I got to be honest. Being the youngest guy out there and holding court as much as he did, it looked good. It looked proper. It looked right. Now, Boang, on the other hand, I expected more in this first half. He has his moments, but the little service is definitely off for him right now. He's holding a little too long, maybe a lot too long. We got to be better with that. And of course, our midfield situation. Are they figuring out? Yes. They seem more defensive minded. Yes. Maybe Tillman needs to get a little more creative in his approach. But again, still defensively sound. And that's something that we struggled with even last year. So it's nice to see that. Colorado, on the other hand, seemed like their entire game plan was to hold on to that lead, hammer any type of flow from half, just to prevent flow, knock people down, take the fouls, test how long the referee would be willing to take it before you have to give him a yellow card, and take your turns. And I have to say the referee was impressive at how strategic he was at his yellow cards. Is basically like 7 or 8 of them got cards, and miraculously nobody got a second. His game management, I will say, on that side was pretty interesting to watch. But they earned those cards. They did. But once everybody had one, Well, you know what tends to happen at that point. A chance gets created and you can't prevent it anymore, which takes us to early second half, right, Tony? And what happens?
The substitution again for the duo of Martinez and Ordaz. Martinez goes out, Ordaz comes in. Ordaz has, oh, sorry, apologies. No, Martinez is able to find and dribble it down, cross it in, and find Delgado to score the
Yeah.
pretty much series winning goal, game winning goal,
hmm
series winning goal, because again, with goal aggregate, that was the goal that we needed, and it was just more of a trying to get the second goal. We did have an opportunity to, and I thought that we had it. Again, fortunately, it was called offside, and um, then we have a 5 minute, more felt like 10 minute stoppage time because of a situation with Sergio Palencia. Now, we don't know what was said. Um, there are still reports going out, but it was in the terms of very vulgar, not safe, and very inappropriate sayings that he probably said. Again, Valencia is very hot-headed, but no one knows what was said. I'll be the first to say that as much as the heat of battle and trying to get into someone's head, that is, I don't agree with whatever was said. Um, but after that, and the whole confusion, we come out, move on to the next round, see Columbus, and we'll see them this coming up Tuesday before New York. So we'll see. Again, short term, we'll see what the lineup shows for that.
Yeah. We move on away goals. We're one of the few competitions remaining that are using the away goals, it seems. That's kind of going away now. But the relic remains, and it got us through the next round. So, hey, we love away goals tonight. Uh, for this tournament, okay. I still think they're dangerous. I'm not a great fan, but hey, it got us through. We understand the way it works, obviously. So we'll take it and move on. In terms of the Palencia situation, I do know that CONCACAF rules dictate if he is found guilty of this, he may receive a 10-match ban. That is the term for using racism. There's several things on that list, but yeah, if he's found guilty, it could definitely be a 10-match ban. Yeah, no messing around. So that may happen. We'll see how it plays out. Do not be surprised if we end up with a long suspension. And if he did it, serve it, deal with it. Don't go that direction. I think that's pretty straightforward from us. The last thing we want is our players getting involved in something like this. If he's innocent of it, right, investigation will play itself out and we will move on. But we have to let the investigation play itself out and not prejudge things until the report comes out. I think that's plain as can be. We have to do this. This is how it has to be. Both sides will cooperate. They said they will, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Did mar a performance that was worthy of celebration, of course. In terms of Delgado's performance, let's be real, he has really held it down, and I think one of the reasons we're so sound back there is because of the work he's putting in. Same with Igor Jesus. They really do hold things down well when it's time to shut down. But for Delgado to do what he did in this game, getting us through to the next round, that's one of those boxes that you have to tick, right? And his reaction was proper as well. His comments were proper as well. Keep going, right? That's how it works. So that's the lovely part of our game is you work yourself into the love of the supporters. But you got to keep working at it. So simple as that. I guess it is fitting that he is the one that got us to the next round. That's how you earn everybody's trust at the end of the day, right, Tony?
100%. Like, it's going to be, again, a long road. This is a good starting point, but again, there's still a game coming up that could matter, and we'll see how that happens.
Exactly. We'll get there. But hey, if he keeps performing the way he is, he's going to put us in a good position. So good on him for the work rate that he's put in and the effort he's put in. We'll take it. We'll move on. Of course, round of 16 is Tuesday already against Columbus. I know. Much changed team. We're not going to go too heavy into the Columbus game because we got to get through the weekend's game as well. But kind of a new look Columbus. We'll leave it at that. Of course, Rossi is Rossi. He's doing his thing. A lot of the same core is there, but some key players have moved on, including one that plays for us now, and one that's gone off to Europe. That's probably the reason he's the guy that's caused most of our pain. Let's be real. But hey, the managers are the same, so that's a dynamic that we have to pay attention to. That's kind of where we'll leave it for Columbus. We got to move on, right? That's what we do. I do see there's some comments, some reactions, so I definitely want to jump on that before we get into LAFC2 updates. Let me see who we've got on tonight. I love it. Our Carlos Vela mascot commenter is back. He says they need me back to score. There you go. I ain't gonna lie. Who would I rather have in the lineup game in and game out? Olivier Giroud or the legend that is Carlos Vela? You know where my head's at, guys. He'd still find a way to do something. Yeah. I love this one. Danny Wanga, I need my boy Vela back. Right? Mojo. I love it, guys. Keep it up. Olivier Giroud. I can't score any more long passes to me in order to score. Well, they got to move more than 4 yards to get that done. So he did get long passes, and it kind of just bounced off of him, and there goes that. Yeah, we need a lot more. That's for sure. And that one says true back defense is solid. Yeah, I mean, the only guy that takes us on some adventures has been Segura, real adventures. But at the same time, he tends to bail us out of those too. So the slide tackles have been pretty wild from him, and he's coming clutch at times. So yeah, again, back line, I'm happy so far. They're doing the job that's needed. And Marlon in the last game, yeah, he looked great. I gotta say, really hard tackles against Minnesota. I was impressed. Were you not impressed, Tony, at where he's at right now?
I was impressed again. So questionable, but impressed of what he's been doing. So
yeah. Well, and I like the edge he brings. There was one guy, he tried to be nice to him after playing the Minnesota player, and he just looked at him like, "What do you want from me?" Keep playing. It's a pretty cool attitude. I dig it. It's fun. A little bit of edge. Then we got the Ryan Hollingshead. There we go. My defense is locked down. Hollingshead is a movement. I'll say that right now, and I'm still going to hold to it. He's going to outscore Giroud this year. He is going to outscore Giroud this year. And it's kind of his vibe, right? Top 3 scorer. No designated player, but top 3 scorer. So there we go. Yeah, love it. That one's Ryan tight in that area. He's got to be back in position to do that, though. He's all over the place by intent. So there we go. Thank you guys for the comments. Keep them up. We're gonna definitely check with you guys later as we preview the next one. Okay. So what do we do next? That's right. We've got an LAFC2 update as there's some new faces in the house, right, Araceli?
Yes, we got 2 new signings this week, actually. The first one being Alec Hughes, and if that name sounds familiar to you guys, LAFC originally drafted the 23-year-old with a 22nd overall selection in the MLS Super Draft last year, beginning this year. It's weird. But he is now with the LAFC2 squad. Looking at his collegiate career, he had scored 51 goals in 5 seasons during his time at the University of Massachusetts. So hoping he can produce the same success, if not similar, with the second team. And along with him, Derek Jones Jr. is a defender. The New Orleans native, comes to us from California State University, Northridge. Couldn't really find too much on his collegiate career in terms of his stats. It does appear that the beginning half of it, he did spend out because of injury, but he did play the last 2 seasons, one with Portland and then with California. But again, really not sure stat-wise. With these 2 signings, it is looking like the roster is coming together. And I know even Junior Gonzalez, if anyone follows him on Instagram, earlier this week, he has been sharing a lot of kind of behind the scenes from preseason, including a photo of the current squad. So if you guys want to kind of have a better idea of how the squad is shaping up, Junior is doing the work for us. But aside from that, just a reminder, Next Pro does officially begin next weekend, with LAFC 2's first match being on Sunday, March 9th, as they host the Whitecaps at 7 o'clock Pacific time. The match will be streamed on MLSNextPro.com if you can make it out. But like I've always said, definitely encourage anyone to go to the games if you're able to, because I know the boys do appreciate it.
There we go. Yeah, have a good time out there. I know 3252 will come out strong as well, so enjoy it. It's a great place to see a game. It really is. And yeah, a little bit of mystery for this year's squad, so it'd be good to check out what they've got going. And of course, some of the top side guys are going to be featuring down there as well to get minutes. And as a new player comes in, you're going to see some interesting faces down there. Also, rehab assignments happen there. So great chance for autographs too, guys. Don't miss out. That's for sure. Now, Tony, what have you got? I know there's some stuff going on before the game this week, right? What you got for community news?
Communities before the game and before the tailgate. Before I get into that, we do have 3252 memberships available, open again. Again, it goes back to the 35 and 65 tier rate. With 35, you get the pin, a patch this year, and of course the 3252 scarf discounts at, of course, the HQ and everything else. And with the $65 one, you get a trucker hat and a keychain as well added to it as well. So again, whichever you prefer, you can go it up, and then this gets you eligibility for discounts for tailgates when we hold those big ones with all the SGs combining together for big food or events, and also gets you priority for away day games. Of course, the big one that is coming up is San Diego, so make sure you have that to be prepared for the San Diego trip. And of course, after that, and after you've done that, tailgates are plenty at the moment right now. I hear there is a little tournament going on in the midst of the day. So again, Saturday night, it's going to be a long one. Save your energy for the game because the game will be at 7, and have some fun.
Definitely should be a good one. NYCFC we'll preview in a little bit, but they've kind of got a vibe, that's for sure. But yeah, and also of course Fan Fest is happening, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Fan Fest is happening, but it wasn't else to say it's also Women's Night for the LAFC game. So
There we go. There we go. Excellent, sir. Yeah, memberships, guys, it's critical. Again, you like the beautiful TIFOs, you like all that stuff. It's the memberships that keep it afloat. That's what makes it happen. And yes, road trips are very popular. You know that. It's part of our culture. So if you want to be a part of that, step one, get a 3252 membership to have any chance of getting tickets. So there you go. All right. Now, Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. I'm going to say thanks to our amazing Bam. He came up with a cool, interesting choice. Tony, you own the lead up on this, sir. I'm going to hand it over to you.
so back in the early 2000s, during the whole page of the picture, during the whole American Pie kind of sitcom-esque movies, you had American Pie, you had Road Trip, and then you had Euro Trip, which of course you have one of the most famous scenes of the group going to England into a Manchester bar, where you get the whole sing the Manchester United theme song and everything. And I usually use that as a joke of new people coming into the North End trying to sing and don't know what they're doing. But the title song is being played throughout the whole movie as a joke is Scotty Doesn't Know. That is the song of the day. And if you watch the movie, the band does perform it, and the surprise performer in the lead singer is Matt Damon, in a way you've never probably seen him at that time. So, Scotty Doesn't Know, fun movie to watch. Again, hilarious. Love to see it every time.
There we go. Well done, sir. Well done. And thank you, Bam, for that nomination. He just he's rolling with the hits. So well done, boys. Love it. All right. Let's move it on to LAFC versus NYCFC. The East Coast versus the West Coast. Let's bring it. I know you're. What about the Red Bulls? Forget the Red Bulls. They look very average right now. NYCFC, though, they're feeling pretty happy after last week. Maybe should have had 3 points. Probably earned the 3 points. It didn't quite work out the way they thought. But hey, you head to Miami, you get a result. Good on you. We know how these things work. So 7:30 kickoff, like Tony said, we'll be playing NYCFC. They're coming off again a 2-2 draw against Inter Miami in Miami or Fort Lauderdale. Let's be real. Fortunate though, because there was a 23rd minute Dogso red card given to Tomas Aviles. He has a penchant for lousy cards. He earned it. He earned the red card. And they were able to benefit off of that. Only a few minutes later, of course, they did score to tie the game in that moment. And then, of course, they took the lead and then gave up a goal in the 100th minute. Yeah, 90 plus 10. Right? Yeah, 90 plus 10. Ended up stuck with a draw. Yeah, I thought they were going to get the win too. I was watching that game too. It was pretty wild. But yeah, they still earned that point. Probably should have had more, but they still got to be happy getting out of that place with something, right? Now, what did they do in that match? How did they field the side? Rather interesting. They went with the 4-2-3-1. Yeah, kind of that standard MLS cautious road approach. Who was in the lineup this time? Well, they had Freese in goal, Risa and Tanisevich as their center backs, Lennox and O'Toole as the outside backs, Parks and Hack. What a name for a defensive midfielder. Holding it down in the midfield. Morales holding down as number 10 with Wolf and Ojeda as their outside midfielders and Martinez as the target man. As the game went off, we did also see Julian Fernandez come in, Monsef Barkar. Nico Cavallo came in as well, and defensive cover. Andres Pereira came in for Morales eventually. But I will say, when they were playing this game, for the most part, they were still creating some offense. Even before the red card happened, this was a battle. And again, it took a last man call. And if it was 2 feet farther forward, it would have been a penalty, no red card. You got to think, man, that's just dumb as a defender. Like, you got Messi on your side. Why are you doing this? But he did it. Boneheaded move. Cost his team. But I will say NYCFC will come into this game. I'm expecting the same look from these guys. I don't think it's going to be different. They're going to be methodical. They're going to try to catch us on counterattacks. Yes, they'll put the ball up the middle. But I think they're more built for that around the wing type of play and bring it into the middle. Yes, Morales will pick out some plays. It's what he does. But I do think they're going to kick it out wide and try to bring it close on us, especially with Hollingshead moving forward all the time. That does put us a bit at risk. Same with Palencia, right? And they're going to try to catch us that way. That's what I see from these guys. I don't see much else from it on this one. Do I think we should beat these guys? Yes, I do. They performed well in the moment they had it, but they had a darn red card to like benefit them. So we got to be careful. We got to do our jobs. Tony, your thoughts as NYCFC come to town?
It's still dangerous. Again, it's early in the season, so no one has a mid-season form. No one knows who's the good team and who's the bad team, or again, it's still everyone's still trying to figure out the new season because I think I said this last episode. This is a whole new MLS. Like usually, it's very like, oh, we have this, we have these, we have Seattle, us, one of the Texas teams coming up. And on the East Coast, it's of course Miami. Columbus is always in the running, and then Philadelphia. But this year, it feels like there's been a change of powers of everywhere. You don't really know who's going to be on top. There's no real favorite. So when NYC comes in, I know they have a chip on their shoulders. Of course, the whole East Coast, West Coast kind of vibe. I know there's not really a rivalry, but like to play off on it as much as we can. So I'm concerned for them, but again, I'm also more concerned about our team and how we're going to perform, especially with short rest and moving on to the next game. I know I'm looking forward, but you have to in these small aspects of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's essential, and like you said, it is kind of an up in the air situation for MLS right now. There's a lot of those so-called elite teams, the feature teams, but then we saw the day after our game that some teams that think they're elite get humbled, and that happens a
Hmm.
lot. Same with Miami in the game against these guys. Moments happen, and you get humbled because the quality isn't that much difference between the teams. There's some impact players, but it's not a Gulf anymore, minus, Chicago giving balls away every 5 seconds. Um, the only one that Orlando looked funky too. But those are the only ones that were like, oof, right? Otherwise, this is going to be an interesting year and no game's going to be easy. And we'll see that from them as well. I do know they also have a new manager, Dutch manager. Janssen came in. I guess he was coaching in Hungary before coming this way. So that should be interesting from what his approach is, from what I saw so far. Harder play, better organization, more of a traditional look to me. That's not what I saw, but yeah, should be an interesting match. And as Tony says, it's kind of more about us right now. Araceli, I'm going to go to you on this. What are we going to have to do against a team as organized as that to get a better result, or a good result? I know we have two good ones so far, but I think this team might be a little stronger than Minnesota.
Well, before I answer that question, I just want to start off by saying that I did watch that match too with them versus Miami, and I'm still very disappointed in New York. They had it. They literally freaking
They
had it,
did,
but
yeah.
whatever. I digress. But coming back to our match, I think LAFC just really needs to resolve the midfield and tighten up certain areas and figure out what they need to tweak, where they need to make where they need to make adjustments moving forward, because just like Tony said, it's a very short turnaround, especially leading into Tuesday's match. Let's be honest, this past going on 2 weeks now has been um very demanding. So I think it really does depend on who Dolo decides to field for Saturday.
Yeah, especially with Columbus coming in only a few days later, right? So again, what's their modified lineup? They're going to have to do something here. Could it just be a repeat of the Minnesota match? Highly likely, we could say. Should be interesting. And I'll throw that right back to you, Araceli. Looking at the lineup, how do you think it's going to look? Is Marlon coming back in? What are you thinking?
Unfortunately, I'm not seeing a lot of changes, but I would hope to see Marlon come back in. We need to have the rotation back, or some type of rotation.
Yeah, it's a heavy schedule already. I mean, kicking things off like this with so many games in such a short amount of time, there has to be some sort of shuffle. Um, Looking up top, do you think Giroud's getting the starts?
I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Ah,
It just seems to
Tony
be the
Shake,
story.
and then Martinez versus Ordaz. What are you going with?
For New York, I see Martinez starting and Ordaz coming in the second half.
Yeah, more. I will say this: it's a young lineup. They have a tendency to sprint hard on plays, look for long balls, look for that. That's what New York's NYCFC does. It's the where they're built. Yeah, a speedy player like Martinez would be good. Yeah, that might be a good one. But a non-speedy player like Giroud might be a little bit scary. So I go to you, Tony. What are we looking like up top? We'll go right at it.
I think Drew sits out for this one just because again Champions League is coming up. And I think Ordaz starts because Martinez started the last game. Until there's like
Ooh.
a good amount of rest, you may change that around, but I feel like we're going to do the same thing that we did against Colorado on the lead up to it.
So we're thinking up top, Bawanga, Ibobise, Ordaz.
Hmm.
It did work out for us, right? It did work out. Midfield, I think we can all agree it's the same crew, right? I don't see any changes happening there. Yeah, no changes. Backline again, Marlon might come in for Segura, but otherwise, yeah, it's the same vibes. Let's see what you guys say. I haven't seen any comments pop up in a few here. Where do you guys stand? Let us know what you're thinking. Now, what are you gonna do to get the result? Mind the counters. Mind the counters. That's how they're gonna kill us. They're speedy on the outsides. I mean, yeah, you got to be careful of what they're going to offer. It's again a very different approach to what Minnesota was doing. Minnesota was more than happy to lay back and maybe get a chance, right? But this team is not going to do that to us. It's going to be hard counting. Araceli, anybody on that team stand out to you that you're worried about in this game or that we really need to be mindful of?
That is a very good question. I feel like I need to bring up the roster again. There has just been so much movement this off season. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're number 10. I think he distributed well against Miami. Are you worried about our midfield getting overwhelmed by the way they set it up?
I do see that as a possibility, unfortunately. Because the midfield hasn't really been faring well with the last couple matches. So,
and these, now you got 5 to deal with, right? It's a 5-man midfield pretty much. That's going to get a little bit tough. They might be skipping the midfield for plays at this case. Should be funny. Should be interesting. We got to be careful here. Tony, what do you need to see from the boys to get across the line in this match?
Well, with the midfielder being so just stacked and clogged up, it's going to be honestly Lloris's play from the back. Because again, he can get those long balls to them. So if we can catch them on a quick counter, if everyone pushes up too much, Lloris and Buanga or Martinez or Ordaz, like how even Ibate or Drew, if they can catch the speed and catch them flacking, that's going to be pretty much the game changer. I know they probably are experienced with that, but that could be a play that might be in the game plan.
Yeah, and to be real, what cost them their goals in this last match was let's be real, Messi. If anybody else is in that role, they walk away with this win, no issue. But that guy just, how he is. What else can you say, right? It's Messi. That was the difference. They couldn't cope. But we don't have that on this team. It's a very different vibe for us. So all parts have to do the job. All right. Any other thoughts, guys, on this match before we move this on and get ready to close out another amazing episode of the Heart of LAFC podcast? We're just ready for the weekend.
Ready for the weekend, ready for the week, and ready for a good rivalry full week in the Liga MX side.
Oh, yes. Things are, of course. Look beyond. Look beyond. I know Bayern plays tomorrow, so there's 125th birthday. What? Yeah. Stuff to celebrate. That's for sure. So, all right. On that note, I see one comment. Hey, check that out. Somebody said something. I'm going to laugh here. Here we go. Who jumped on? That one says Ordaz starting in my opinion. I think he's due. I think you're right. He's due. The man needs to start. He's definitely earned it from the times we've seen him so far. Again, he got that winning assist. Let's be real. So reward the man. And there we go. Good stuff. Thank you, everyone who's participated tonight, added into the conversation. We love what you guys do. You're the reason why we do this thing. Let's be real. So keep it up. Don't ever hesitate. Throw it out there whenever you can. But hey, we're ready for this weekend. We'll see a lot of you guys out there. Definitely looking forward to it. Better than a day game. I prefer the night games at BMO. Way better than the day games. Tony probably agrees, is throwing water everywhere in the north end and trying not to burn up. But it's probably gonna be a warm one anyway, even as a night game. So enjoy the day. Have a nice long tailgate, a safe tailgate. Enjoy what we have to offer for this match. That's for sure. It should be an entertaining one. So on that note, what do we always do? Our final thoughts. And I'm gonna go to Tony because he looks like he's ready for this one. What you got, sir?
Final thoughts is, of course, be safe out there. Travel well. Don't overdrink. Just take care of yourself. Water is always important. And of course, there's a lot of football coming out this week, especially with not just us, but also across the pond. As we mentioned earlier, Bayern is there with their 125th kit. Beautiful kit as well. the way they've done it and all the stuff they announced. There's a lot of announcements coming in, like so if you've seen it, the leaks for the New Mexico kit, the home, not too happy about it. The away kit, love it. But also you also have it in Liga MX for any of you guys who watch it is the Clásico Liga MX, which is America and Chivas playing each other against in CONCACAF, then over the weekend, and then again in CONCACAF. So there's a three game stretch of just them back to back. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, that's about it.
That's going to be a war.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it will.
That third match is going to get chippy, as if the first two aren't. But wow, that's going to be fun to watch. Enjoy the gauntlet there, Tony. That's going to be fun. I'm not sure how many of your guys are going to survive those 3 matches to last the rest of the season, but that will be a battle. That's for sure. Araceli, your final thoughts.
I mean, my final thoughts are simple. We got another home game coming up this weekend. And as I've always said, please don't be stupid. Always have a plan B, whether that's Uber, Lyft, a friend, whichever. Stay safe. Of course, have fun out there. And yeah, I just leave it there because honestly, I'm falling asleep now.
I can't blame you. I'm doing the same thing, Tony. It's been a long week, everybody. We just can't wait to get to the weekend. Let's be real. Of course, for Araceli, that means she has to even work that much harder. But we love that she does what she does.
It's 1 a.m. for me.
Coverage. Yeah, it's late. It's late. Bam. Yeah. Bam, it's early. You, it's late. But again, beyond appreciation for all that you do. So thank you, Araceli. On my end, I'm going to throw it to everybody else. We'll see you all at the stadium. Do not hesitate to have a conversation with us. We love the conversations. We love to say hello. Again, what are we going to talk about? Well, we all love the black and gold. So, yeah, definitely love the conversations. You guys are what makes it colorful. You guys what make it special. You see how the 3252 is? That's all you guys. You're the characters that make it what it is. So keep it going, and we'll keep going. Hopefully we get a result that we need and we move on to Columbus with even more momentum and figuring ourselves out, but it is on. That being said, be safe out there. Look out for each other. When we say community, we do mean it. Look out for each other. Always. Be careful what you do. Be mindful what you do. There'll probably be some NYCFC fans in attendance. Be cool. They've been cool with us for just about ever. So, yeah, enjoy the day. That's for sure. And we'll see you all in the North End. Where does that bring us? That's right. The final word. And I will go to you, Tony, first. Final word.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
Araceli.
Stay golden.
And from me to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.